Hi, Carmel.
Hello, I'm trying to get my camera to work.
All right, well, I don't see Jillian yet, so let me get a notebook and take minutes. Okay. Hello, everybody. We'll start the meeting. It is 7:30. Okay. And everybody good?
Yep.
Yep, good. I sent you the minutes. Could I have a motion to accept them or make changes?
Make a motion to accept.
Second,
All in favor?
I
Aye.
Hi.
And that's everyone. Okay. And then I don't see public comment, right, Dan? Nobody's here besides us?
It looks like it's just the board.
Yeah. Okay. So then we go to the treasurer's report.
Okay, we still have a healthy balance of $3,485.
Alex cashed in his ticket stub.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Thank you, Loretta, again. Appreciate
No
that.
problem.
Came in the mail.
And I think that the Cultural Alliance, they automatically bill, and I'm pretty sure it's November. So I have to research. Like last year, I had to find out if, I didn't know until I saw my statement, but that's coming too.
Okay.
Okay, we'll move right into the sculpture.
Yep. So as we updated already, we went to the selectmen meeting earlier in November. And unfortunately, the Board of Selectmen did not accept the current statute that we proposed. There was a mixed, they received less than 30 responses from the public. And there was mixed topics in there. I did get a copy of the responses, and yes, there was some positive people, there was some negative people, and there was this other group that really just was unhappy with the progress of the downtown streetscape. So it wasn't necessarily a negative on the sculpture, they just didn't think the timing was right. So I believe that it's more that the timing isn't right. And we should still keep our eye for a sculpture, keep it on a horizon, but I've been meaning to write something to the selectmen, or unless Sue, if you want to take this back.
Sure.
I would like us to get more of a clear definition as to what the board wants, the Board of Selectmen, because we really received minimal guidance on this first round. We were asked to put something there in a very short window of time, and we had no money to spend on it, and it just had to be welcoming. So that was the guidelines we got, but now we have better idea. I took from the public comments and the selectmen's input that it's something more related to ironworks. They don't want abstract. The town wasn't ready for something shiny, which is all fine, but we, as you know, we did put a lot of effort into it, and it's not an exercise we want to do again and get to the end and be surprised that it didn't meet the needs that the town wanted. So, once we get that, then we can have an idea of what we're looking for. But we're not going to meet the expectation is we can't meet the July 21 deadline we were requested to meet.
Unless we find a sculpture that's built
Bill, yes.
and everyone likes it.
Well, you alluded a minute ago, Loretta, to people not being comfortable with the timing, meaning too soon or too late? Or what about the timing weren't people happy about?
There was some reference to a lot of the storefronts are empty and the apartments are empty and there's still a construction site. Why are we putting a sculpture in?
I think they're
Okay,
not
so-
realizing that it'll be a lot different by then. It will be a lot more finished, I hope.
Okay, so the sense was that it was too soon rather than too late.
Right, it was
in terms
too,
of
we were,
timing. Okay,
right,
Okay.
we were ahead, I guess people wanted to see the progress in the townscape, the streetscape more before the focus was on this.
and
And,
how
you
did
know,
the Board
still-
of Selectmen view that comment to do with timing and appropriateness of priorities and so on? Were they saying, okay, ease back and don't come so soon, or are they still looking for a July
The,
submission?
they would still like, the impression I got is that they would still like us to help assist in getting a sculpture.
Mm,
There was no talk of the timing, just that originally we were given the timing that it had to be next July.
Right.
'Cause
Um,
We did not see the comments until after the meeting. We were sent those comments. So we didn't even know that comment and other ones were there. And we read them after the meeting. And I
Right.
did say to the Board of Selectmen that this is going to push us back. We're not going to probably have anything on that slab of bricks, or however they're going to make it, cement bricks. I think it's bricks. And they said, okay, they understood. And Greg Dembowski had said that too, a long time ago. He's like, I don't care if it stays open. But then we were kind of getting pressured to have it done. And now it's kind of been. kaput.
Okay.
Can I
Well,
say a few
Loretta,
things?
I'm very much supporting your insistence on getting as much guidance as possible, and not being surprised a second time. So, you know, you were describing some of the things that came as feedback from that Board of Selectmen review, and that's helpful. And if they can be incorporated into whatever the next search is,
Yeah,
but
we
the
really
more
wanted-
the more specific and the more detailed, the less likely we're going to get a surprise again.
Right, less likely we'll be sitting with our jaws dropped at the meeting. So,
Yeah.
um,
Now, Sue, were you trying to interject something there? I'm sorry, I was cutting you off.
Yeah, two things. One, I think as far as the timing, the Board of Selectmen, we were not concerned about where we are with the streetscape. I mean, we know in the spring, we're supposed to get, the next phase in with the sidewalks and the lanterns and all that. We know that Brookfield Village has gotten their permit, so they're going right ahead with the buildings, which is going to mean bringing in another, restaurant that's down below.
Okay.
The Italian restaurant that's in there, they're practically weeks away from starting. So my opinion is, yeah, get the sculpture up there. We got to keep moving. I mean, this place does look dead. It's I personally would have liked to have seen a lot more of the buildings that are in existence, kind of catch up with the rest of the downtown area. Maybe some of the owners kind of do their part there. So I think if we can get it going, I'd be thrilled to get it going. I think as far as your original direction though, coming from Greg Dembowski, I mean, he didn't go to Steve, he didn't go to the Board of Selectmen. So his direction to you was pretty unfortunate almost, in that he was saying, we don't really have any money, but this is the slab and this is where we're going to put it. And that's kind of where it went. So I think, Loretta, you're very smart with saying, what do you want? And then kind of getting direction going that way.
yeah, because and then how do you want it presented to the town? Because even before, when we were finalizing our selection, I went back to Greg. This is where we were getting our direction, and just said,
Right.
okay, we're finalizing it. Who do I need to present this to? Who is going to help us make this decision? And he was just like, well, just choose one, so that's what we did.
We
Yeah.
didn't
So
realize
the
there'd be a
whole
vote because we were not
Right.
presented that there would be a vote and we would be turned down.
Right.
Right.
So
And
that
but
was
and I
kind of
can
a shocker.
understand, Steve's opinion is like, this is going to be a showcase piece. You know, we
Mhm.
want to make sure that everybody's going to like it. So what's the opinion of the town? And that just opened up the whole
Yeah,
thing.
Mm.
So
So,
are you okay if I share a screen and, or Loretta, you have more to say?
no, that's it. So, yeah, so Sue, if you could organize with the other
Okay.
selectmen and give us a short list, because right now we're not planning, we're not going to do any fundraising. That's,
Okay.
I know Steve said, oh, go do fundraising, but really, we can't ask for money when we don't know what we're asking for.
right. Well, that's like the library. You can't raise money for a library if you don't know when it's happening and what it's going to look like. No one's going to give you money.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're right. You're absolutely right.
And I actually did want to say that, well, two things. One, I looked up, and just so everyone's aware, stainless steel's primary component would be iron.
Yeah, that's right.
Good to know.
Iron with the addition of chromium is
And
what
nickel.
makes it.
Yeah.
And
You see, iron works.
secondly, the idea of, let's see if the town likes it. We're never going to find something that everybody in this town is going to like,
That's
ever.
true. Very true.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
where I think
Loretta
the
made a-
response is that
Yeah.
the responses were people liked it, people didn't like it, and people weren't happy with the streetscape. And I think those responses were considered negative responses. And then the decision was made that, well, obviously the negatives outweigh the positives. But what I read into it is just that people, they weren't condemning the statue. They had other issues that they were trying to express. And fortunately, we became the forum for that. So,
Yeah, you had a good point too, and kind of to Jillian's, statement that she just made, is you don't want anything that's going to be, I don't want to say not shiny, but it's not going to show up, especially in amongst greens.
Yeah.
So if you do have something shiny, it's something that can be seen, and
And reflective.
that would, yes,
Yeah, because, they were talking about iron and black and stuff. But anyway,
Oh, that would work.
and Ginny had said, and we had talked about, one of the comments was about that fountain. I don't know that we shared this with the whole commission, but Steve Dunn had asked about, are we interested in a fountain? And we all kind of said, no, fountain's hard to maintain in the Northeast.
Yeah.
Well, I contacted the person who had not offered it, but he knew of somebody who was selling it at a very good price. So I contacted that man, and I just want to share, he, very nice man. He owned Tom's Iron Works or something like that.
Ornamental, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's where the
Where the
laundromat
laundromat
is now.
Laundromat, yeah. So this was the fountain. It is actually gone. He was nice and he contacted the woman. I said, was it up for grabs? He goes, no, Steve didn't understand. He doesn't expect it to be a working fountain, but people are using it as planters. And then I thought, well, maybe we could do that. So anyway, the auction, this has been sold. Actually, she got 15,000, which is nice. We could have gotten it for 5,000, maybe even 3,000.
Wow.
But she's ill, so it's kind of nice she has the extra money, so I'm glad. But then so he told me the more history about the iron works in Brookfield, and named a bunch of ironworks companies that were in town. And he suggested Ryan Blessey, who we talked about. I think Marion tried to contact him. Anna Morosi tried to told me to contact him, but I don't think Marion had luck. So I tried yesterday, and this man, Tom, recommended Ryan Blessey. So I haven't heard back from Ryan, but I do have his phone number. So tomorrow I think I'll give a call if I don't hear back via email. But this was on his website. Oh, by the way, Tom told me that Ryan Blessey has done a very nice piece for the New Milford High School. So he does do kind of sculpture work, not handrails and stuff like that. This was on his website. I thought this was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but it might be nice to have something like that and whatever. So, so I'm going to keep trying with them. And I think that was a lot of what people were saying was, why aren't we doing iron? And Jillian, I appreciate that. Stainless is a lot of iron.
All steels are
About
iron.
80%
bad.
iron.
Too bad we didn't get the fountain. We could have had somebody do like flowers or another sculpture.
Yeah, I was thinking the garden club. I know it is too bad, but
Well,
also.
no, we could have done a sculpture of flowers in it.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea. Anyway, Tom's gonna keep his eyes open for us and hopefully, so. But I think iron, if we do something iron, people will be happy, even though stainless still has.
Even though it won't be seen, it'll disappear in the greenery.
Yeah, but we're gonna have a lot of green around it, so, who knows?
Well, and
anyway.
iron, that piece of iron was finished in black.
Hmm.
When Chris makes things so that they don't rust, he coats them with wax and linseed oil and burns it on, and it turns it black. It's not silver colored. So that's just we looked at the piece we chose in terms of it being brighter.
Mm. Well, the only alternative I can think of for material is what's called Corten steel. It's used often in, heavy duty bridge building, things like that. It's treated so that it does rust, but then it stops rusting. So it forms a rust colored red
Sound
coating.
like the bridge,
Like,
like the bridge on the Still River Greenway.
yeah, yes, exactly. So it would at least contrast with greenery, but it's not a vibrant color. It's a fairly, it's a dull rust red.
So is it Corten?
I
Corten? What do
think
you
I
think?
think so, but I'd have to Google it to make sure.
Okay. I didn't know if you were saying like QUAR.
No, it's COR something.
Okay. All right, so everyone just keep your eyes out for sculptures.
And I'll let you know what they say.
Okay, thanks.
Great.
Anything else to add on this sculpture talk? We're good? All right.
We're good.
So art exhibits, I apologize. I still have not videotaped the senior center. I will. I know it's only up for another week.
No, it
So-
isn't.
Did you take
Sorry.
it down? You took
No,
it down?
but I'm going to take it down tomorrow
What time?
in the morning, late morning. I can video it, but I've arranged now with all these artists to come by at the senior center where I'm going to be leaving the stuff for them to pick up.
Do you mind videotaping it?
Yeah, well, I'll make a video with my phone,
Yeah.
and then I guess I
Well,
can
that'll be
share that
fine.
back with you. Sorry.
That'll be fine, your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what I
there
was
isn't
gonna
really
do.
there's really nothing else we use these days.
Well, and
Um,
plus, you know the exhibit better too. Like you'll know.
Oh yeah, sure.
You can say the people's names and do their three and even stop it. Well, it'd be nice to have it continual.
I would do, if
Two
you're gonna
separate-
try and send it to people, I would do it in clips.
Okay.
Yeah, because it'll be a huge file.
And then it's whoever knows about video editing will have to put it together. I don't.
Well, it doesn't have to be professional. I just,
No, I'm just, whichever one of us knows about video editing. I'm looking at you. Yeah.
Gary? I was gonna say Fred, but
Yeah.
Well,
There's
I will.
probably someone in my house who could do it.
I will video it and I will download it onto my computer. And then if I need to send it to somebody to process it, we can do that. But that's fine. I'm glad you brought that up.
But
Yeah.
I'm just mentioning because I once tried to send a big thing from
Oh.
my phone
Yeah, forget
to
it.
an
Oh, yeah.
email and it gave me hassles.
But
So
I'm
I would
saying-
do an artist at a time and then we can put it together.
Right.
If
You
you
do
want,
it.
you can use my
If-
YouTube channel. And the same YouTube we have for your meetings, I can host a video for you guys.
Oh, that'd be great.
Okay, all right, good. Well, we'll figure out who to send it to.
Yeah, but I'm
And-
saying like if you do it in clips or if you do a whole big thing, well, Gary, if we do it in clips, like what I'm saying, if you do a clip and you make a mistake, do the clip over so we don't have to edit and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
Gary, is this hard to do or should he try and do it all at once or
Dan, Gary's not here.
Gary?
Here he is.
Here-
Gary's muted.
Gary's-
Here.
I'm over here.
There you are. You're so far away, we didn't see you.
He was just showing his equipment.
Yeah, it's a piece of cake. So,
Oh, you got a piece of cake as well?
yeah,
Oh, geez, look at that. Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, he's all set.
You can do anything with that.
So you're okay if he gives you like 4 different clips and you can put them together?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, I'll see
Thanks.
if I can send those to you. What's the best way to send? As an email attachment?
Depending on the size of the videos.
Yeah.
If not, if they're too large to email, then you could send them via WeTransfer. Have you ever used? It's a free service. It's WeTransfer.com.
You guys can talk.
And you can send
Okay.
up to 2 gigabytes there.
Okay. Okay, I made a note. It's just wetransfer.com.
Correct.
Thank you. That's enough. Good.
Thank you, Alex. So Dan, you can forget about me coming in at 3:30 tomorrow.
Fair enough.
Take
And
me off
Alex,
the
I'll probably see
schedule.
you around the building tomorrow then.
Yeah. Alex, you have to make us an appointment, remember, Alex.
Yeah, I talked to Ginny already. We're
Okay,
all
cool.
set. And
Okay, cool.
so this video is not going to be to invite people to come because it won't be there anymore. It's just going to be a record for our archive, right?
Oh, we can put it on our Facebook page still.
Or whatever. I mean, it's sort of a record of what we have done rather than an invitation to
Exactly.
something that's happening.
Well, and I'll tell you when Fred Ball when he makes that commercial for us,
Oh, yeah,
remember
right.
Loretta? He
That's
said
good.
that it would be better if instead of all these little pictures that we send, if we occasionally send
Yeah.
video, it's easier for him. So he
Good.
can take slices of that too for our
For
not
someday.
commercial. What'd you say?
For someday when we make a
For
commercial.
someday. And then Jillian and Ricky have been corresponding.
He never responded. I just sent him another email,
Okay.
which concerns me a little bit because he was right on top of the correspondence like 3 months ago. So I don't know.
Well, we'll see. And honestly, there's not many people going into town. I shouldn't say
No,
this,
but I told him I think we can hang it in town hall. But what I want from him is images of the things that he has in the show, and we'll do a virtual one on Facebook.
Right. And you said put water spots on it or whatever
Yeah,
you call that.
watermarks.
Watermarks.
And I looked at his Facebook page, which he hasn't updated very much, but he does know how to do it so
Yeah.
that, you wouldn't want to upload it and print it out, but it doesn't interfere with the picture that much. So,
And then Cindy Yates is postponed till the summer. So if we can think about somebody in between, 1 or 2 to put in between. Part of me thinks like this is a little bit unfortunate timing because you're asking an artist to,
you're asking an artist to show virtually, basically.
yes,
yeah.
and and also give up a lot of their potential purchases that they probably could sell more on their own.
No,
Well, I'm
Not
just
really.
saying that.
I mean,
Okay.
if they sell it someplace else, we just put a sold sticker on it.
Yeah. But I mean, we're asking them to not give up, but put a lot of their physical pieces somewhere.
Mm.
Anyway. Okay, so any ideas? Okay.
No.
Bridget, ideas?
No, no artists yet. If I see any good ones, younger ones though, I'll keep some in mind.
Okay,
It's hard not seeing people lately.
I know,
Finding out who's got stuff going on.
yeah. It's an odd time for sure.
Yeah.
Alrighty, we are up to the film festival. Do we need to discuss anything? No, it's getting close to, not real close, but Academy Award and stuff like that. I think that comes out January or February. So I got to make sure we are on the mailing list, that we get sent all the things again and negotiate a price. Did anyone watch? I didn't get a chance to watch the ones Shannon sent. Did anyone see those?
Yeah.
Any good films that?
I will.
Okay. And I also didn't watch, I didn't look for the ones Alex had sent either. Did anyone see any of those on YouTube or anything? Okay. All right, continue to look for films. Okay, so we have the walk in their shoes discussion.
Okay, so we're going to try something a little different. I'm going to share a presentation and Jillian and I are going to walk you through it.
Okay.
And then we can kind of, I guess, go from there, hopefully. I just need to move you. Present. All right, can you still see, or well, it's loading, but it should come up as a presentation once it loads. So does everybody see that now?
Yes.
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 Okay. So in June 2020, the Cultural Alliance put out a call to action. It went to everyone on their mailing list. Jillian and I said that we would sit for the Arts Commission. Jillian is also attending for the Craft Center, and I was also interested, just, you know, as part of being a teacher, an arts teacher, and, you know, what that would look like. Why is it not moving? Okay, so we worked in a cohort with over 30 artists and cultural leaders in Western Connecticut. They made a commitment to racial equity, social justice through Walk in Their Shoes. The cohort's goal was to work and support each other as we delved into increasing our awareness, impact, and creating lasting, actionable commitments to create more opportunity for racial equity and social justice in the arts. That meant different things for the different participants. It might, I'm sorry, I'm getting hit. So Jillian, can you, I'm tagging you in for a second because he's mad at me.
How do I don't know how to get to the next page.
Oh, you just want me to go to the, I can go to the next page. We can do that. That I can handle.
So we had a series of discussions that some were led by Lisa, some were led by artists in the community, in the Cultural Alliance of Western Connecticut community. And it was primarily looking at the issues of Blacks, which are slightly different than the issues of other organized, other groups for a variety of reasons. But we did talk about the fact that as arts and culture leaders, arts and culture groups, we can be leaders in some of this, even though many of us in the area are predominantly white groups because we're a predominantly white area. So, and now I'm kind of stuck because I know you can all read, so I wasn't reading what Shannon wrote. Are you still getting hit?
Unmuting. I'm back. I'm not sure where he disappeared to because I thought we were going to bed, but apparently we were not. So I just wanted to, as Jillian like touched upon it, like the different people that they brought in to talk to us. Adrienne Jefferson, you know, she is an executive in arts administration and cultural equity with expertise. You can read that. She, you know, did basically like our kickoff to kind of what we were talking about. Elizabeth Shapiro and the next woman, they talked about kind of what was it called? It was like equity in white suburbia, or was it diversity in white suburbia? Jillian.
I think it was equity in white suburbia.
Okay.
Like, how do we do this? Or ideas for how to do this being predominantly white.
So, and Bria Simone was, you know, her co-facilitator there. Part of what we're asking from you, and this is the last slide, I swear, this is what they asked of us, was that when we're making our, you know, actionable items or our diversity, equity, and inclusion statements, that these are the two things that kind of we agree to. The first one is that, you know, racism, we have to make an agreement that it actually exists. And, you know, they gave us this kind of the definition there, and that's the source of where it came from. And then the second thing is racial equity, you know, an acknowledgement that this is critical to the success of our organization. You know, we can either continue to just do like what we normally do and just kind of go about our day, or we can create an environment where we can be more open and welcoming to, you know, diverse people. And while this concentrated on, you know, Black people of color, we, you know, there are different forms that we can kind of like, not forms, I'm sorry. There's different ways that we can, you know, help to create more diversity within our group or within like the films that we're choosing, or the artists that we're promoting, or the experiences that we are creating for the town. And, you know, again, this was about, you know, racial justice, but like there's many different, you know, things that can kind of come into what that looks like. It could be like, you know, economic diversity. It could be, you know, gender, sexuality, you know, your physical disabilities or stuff like that. Like, I mean, we have done some of this stuff before, so it's not like we're saying like we don't do any of it. But again, like it's as a group making that kind of public commitment that this is what we stand for. And that, you know, they did ask us to, instead of just being not racist, to like to put it out there that we are anti-racist, which is different. And I know that we are not ready to, have that conversation, but like to kind of like think of that in as we're going through this kind of thing.
And I think the biggest thing to think about when we're thinking about racism is that, and Shannon wrote it out, these beliefs and behaviors are conscious and unconscious, personal and institution. So a lot of our responses, and this goes for all of us, is that there are things that we may individually believe that we would not even consider thinking of as racist because it just doesn't compute that way for us, but they are. And it's a hard thing to kind of come to grips with. But, we're living in a society that was predominantly designed by white people for white people. And above and beyond all that, when we talk about privilege, which we all are privileged by being white. And a lot of that is just, again, the institutional things, the things that we've never had to go home and try and shake off the cares of the day that were caused by something that we cannot change. And I don't know, I'm probably rambling at this point, I'm tired. But that's part of what this has been asking us to think about.
So I guess like to kind of like circle back to that, it's still, we're still asking the group to maybe think about, what can we, publicly put out there as part of like our mission statement in order to include, more, diverse voices, but also to create more equitable, opportunities for marginalized groups.
What's our current mission statement?
I don't have it in front of me. Catherine, are you
I'm
in
very
the,
but I think I
our
might
mission
interrupt my.
statement.
I'm like, which of you are in our drive right now? Because I know I stuck that in there when I was a secretary.
No, but not very much is in our mission statement.
Yeah.
I mean, we've looked at this before, and just like our bylaws were non-existent until last year.
Well, just as a question, there are a couple of ways that this might be addressed, whether it's in a mission statement or something else. One is to reinforce the position that when we choose artists or events or any of our other activities, we do so without any favoritism for race, economic condition, gender. We treat everybody equally, and simply to reinforce that. On the other hand, I don't know whether they're looking for something that's more akin to affirmative action, which would be a deliberate favoring of sources that come out of minority or previously disadvantaged or discriminated against sections of the community. is my differentiation clear? And which of those positions is the objective?
So I understand what you're asking. And, part of those discussions were about, instead of equality, like the difference between equality and equity with justice in mind. Whereas, that you would be creating opportunities specific for marginalized groups. It's not to say that we would only be showing, preference to marginalized groups, but that there would be a place with our group where we would create those opportunities. And again, this is not something that I'm saying you have to do. If we decide as a group that this is not something that we can do, again, that is the group's decision. It was the reason why Jillian and I wanted to have these conversations with all of you is because, part of participating in the Walk in Our Shoes and then creating these actionable items gave us that privilege of being on that page where we, were going to be recognized as a group that was open to, creating these, opportunities for artists of color. So it would be if an artist of color was looking for some, a group to work with, and they wanted to make sure that they held the same values that they did, or it doesn't even have to be an artist of color. It could just be a white artist that happens to work, as a social justice artist, a socially justice minded artist, but they wanted to work with a group that held the same values. They could reach out to someone on that page. And, but again, it's important that it's authentic. That, if this is not something that we can commit to at this time, that is, the group's prerogative. I do think that if we want to continue having these conversations, that is important, that, we should, I would hope that no one would want to shut the door on this. But if it's not something that we can say yeah, I totally get this. I'm comfortable with this. That's fine too.
Being a group that has had at the last film festival, Asian films, African-American films, white films, are you saying that we need to basically commit to what we already are? Because in my opinion, we are
it
that.
Would be
and
making...
yes, there's a lot of white faces on this Zoom call, but again, it's not like that's because we've kept other people out. I mean, that Walk in Your Shoes or that the Connecticut Alliance, I'm not pointing fingers, but they have 14 board members, 12 of them are white.
Yes, because that's where we live.
There's no Hispanics, there's no Asians, there's no, right. So, but that doesn't inherently make us racist because we're all white faces on here. And also, as long as I got the floor for a moment, you can't assume that I've never been called a name because I'm Jewish. You can't assume that fat people haven't been bullied or blonde women haven't been bullied, right? There's a lot, just because people are white doesn't mean we haven't made and nobody else does. That's,
Gary, hold on, Jillian.
Sorry.
Gary, Jillian did say that that was not what we were saying, but as, part of what it is that, we don't ever experience being, denied opportunity based on the color of our skin or those microaggressions. You might actually experience microaggressions being a person who is Jewish, where you might, hear people, saying, jokes at the expense of, Jewish stereotypes. And that is something that you might be able to relate to someone who experiences this. But again, unless you typically, when I look at you, I would not know that you were Jewish if you didn't disclose your last name or or your faith. That's something that you would be able to, pass. Whereas someone who, has a darker skin color or whatever is not able to pass, or the fact that
or ball jokes. How many ball
or
jokes I've gotten throughout my
again,
life.
Well,
but
how,
again, it's a different, it's a really
But
different thing
anybody
to
could
make a
look-
bald joke or a blonde joke as opposed to experiencing racism.
But, excuse
they're
me,
not-
anybody could look at us and know that we're women, and how many of us have had to fight that battle constantly?
Carmel, I'm not saying that we don't, and yes, but again, it's still, no one is discounting any of the personal, ways that we might be discriminated on. But if you really look at the history of even this area about, how we, have built these communities in order to exclude opportunities for people who, may not have generational wealth or anything like that they can come to here. And I'm not, again, this is not this is not the point of this. The point of tonight was just to, again, try to communicate what that was. I would like to respect everyone's time. And since it's 8:15 right now, I don't think that we can have a full-on conversation about, what privilege is and what that looks like. And obviously, again, this is just about whether or not we are in a place where we could make a public statement, that we are committed to these things. If we're already doing them and you are, saying well, we're already doing these things, then why wouldn't we be able to make a public, commitment
I think it's some
that
of
this
the
is what we are?
I think it's the language that you're using, that we're social justice minded. I mean, I have no problem with putting another bullet on our Arts Commission charter. And I'll read everyone what we have so far: to promote understanding and appreciation of the arts to residents of the town of Brookfield. My concern with all this is, how are we going to go out and solicit people? I mean, I feel like we're open to anyone who comes to us. So are we soliciting people who are Black? I mean, why can't we just say on here, we're open, we're socially, I don't really like socially justice minded, honestly.
No, I mean,
We're denying.
What about social equity?
Yes,
I
that's
mean,
fine.
it doesn't have to have the word justice in it. That was just what we discussed. And it's
Equity,
if you're not comfortable with the language, we can work on language.
Yeah, and then say something like, we are open to, I mean, part of my problem also is that we kind of say we promote the arts in Brookfield. Now, I know we go beyond Brookfield, obviously, with our film festival and artists. We've had artists in different parts of Connecticut. But to encourage community participation in arts activities, to coordinate information concerning artists and the arts in the town of Brookfield, to act as a liaison between artists, schools, and community, to engage in activities designed to encourage local artists in demonstration their talents. That's not grammatically correct. To engage in activities designed to encourage local artists in demonstration their talents.
In demonstrating.
Of their
Demonstrating,
or demonstration of their.
Yeah. So that needs to be fixed.
And
And to promote activities that both entertain and enlighten. We can add another bullet. We are open to all, however we want to say it. But I've been reading the WITS website, and to make a commitment that they're going to keep following up on this, making sure we've adhered to our commitment.
And you don't want to do anything that's going to upset your fundraisers.
Yeah, well, I also don't know why our logo is on that website already, if we haven't agreed to that.
So we haven't agreed to it. She had put it on because we had put it up there, and
Okay.
we requested that Lisa take it down because we wanted to, but I don't think she's been able to get around to it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you were
Maybe
aware.
We're aware that it's on there, yes.
Catherine's a follow-up to what you were reading, and I think those are all, exactly the kind of things that we as a commission should be doing. Would it be sensible to add at the end a statement along the lines of, and to conduct all these activities, all the aforementioned activities, in a socially equitable manner? So, to me, that is wide-ranging. And it sort of leads me to a question that I was wanting to ask Shannon and Jillian. Is the WITS initiative specifically focused on Blacks as opposed to any other minorities or disadvantaged groups?
Yes.
No, like a lot of our conversation was around that, and it did come out of what was happening with, the Black Lives Matters protests, etc. And that was the catalyst. But they do recognize that, there are other marginalized groups. But again, they were speaking specifically to what was happening in, our society at the time that this came about.
Okay. Well, the more wide-ranging feels to me better, in fact, feels more socially equitable.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to ask, and I don't know if we're going to prolong the conversation tonight, but you and Jillian have obviously thought very deeply about this, and much appreciated that you have. But what I wanted to ask is, would either of you be able to give some examples of things that the Arts Commission might do, perhaps different than what we do now, no matter how small, that would be indicators of doing things in a socially equitable way?
Well, we've already started with suggesting different places to look for films.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
Let's face it, every year the Academy Awards gets knocked because there's not an awful lot of representation of people of color.
Well, that's a good example, but
so every year so far, we've been looking at Academy Award winners. Well, let's go look at some African-American film festivals. Let's go look at Asian Pacific Islander film festivals. Let's look at Indigenous peoples film festivals. So that's one thing that we've already done.
Good.
And we could conceivably continue doing that.
Yeah, and that's a great example. And if you could send back to us, just to help focus our thoughts, examples that relate to other of the events that the Arts Commission
that we've done.
with.
So
it would be great.
We chose to include a menorah and a kinara in our holiday displays.
Good.
So that was something that we brought there, that we hadn't done previously. I believe we attempted to work with the Rehabilitation Arts Group in Danbury to bring their artists, but I don't know, Melissa
Kathy,
was working.
Yeah.
Kathy and Melissa.
It would be an interesting thing to follow up on.
Yeah,
Okay.
Kathy Lasser, remember,
Yes.
she was saying that. Yeah, that would be good to do.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
like I said, it's not that we've never done these things, but we can build on this.
Mhm.
Right. And
Yeah,
let's think about another bullet that we can add that, not that people look at our charter, but like make it officially part of our charter
Mhm.
as,
We encourage people of all races and gender and to
Well-
participate in our activities.
yeah. I would like to see if somebody could, I like that, Carmel. I like what you said, Alex. Could somebody commit to writing something that we can approve at the next meeting that will at least add to our charter?
Easy. I mean, I would just write
You're
down
good
more or
with-
less the words that I said.
Yeah, and what Carmel just
Just that
said.
one bullet.
That was really good.
You know,
Yeah.
when we give out the scholarships or when we choose an artist, we don't really know their race.
Yeah, that's how I was wondering, like, how do you go about finding out if somebody, like, as a film and stuff? I get what Jillian said, to look for African-American film festivals. That makes a lot of sense. But when we find a film that we like, honestly, unless they have a Wikipedia page, I don't know if they're Black or not, but
Catherine, like when we find like a film that we like, it's not like it should be automatically like disincluded. It's just, going and looking in these other areas.
yeah,
Like,
okay.
Mhm.
looking in the Manhattan shorts and the Oscars has been our status quo for, however long we've been doing this.
Mhm.
But, pulling from these
Not
other, no, I'm not saying that, but like those are our major polls.
Yes, and yes,
And,
okay.
I am not saying that this current commission of all the people that I'm staring at here on this screen have not been, trying and looking and finding like, new films. But, they're looking at these other film festivals to say like, okay, like, we are typically committed to finding happy, funny, lighthearted films. But looking in other areas to bring that in there because our conversation last time where it went to but like the quality and stuff, like the assuming that the quality is going to not be on par there, it's that should make you kind of like think like, am I assuming something before I even look? Looking for those happy films. A lot of us, might say like, okay, like, well, if they are a person of color, they're not going to make like a happy film because like that's not their lived experience or whatever. I'm saying this like just like out loud or whatever. But like, finding those other examples of cultural
Awareness and
awareness
one
and
that I'm thinking
experiences.
of is remember, I forget which film festival it was, but when you had the not refugees, but the guys who were working on the house and one died, remember?
Yes.
Yeah, Hispanic.
yeah.
Yeah.
That
Uh,
terrible one where he died down the
refugees.
base. Yeah, they were.
No.
Mhm.
And then they covered it up. Like
Yeah.
that's a kind of film that I would hope that we can just to make people more aware what's going on in the world,
Mhm.
So okay.
I mean, I'm not. I definitely do not think Brookfield is at that point, like where we had that conversation like 4 years ago. That was 4 years ago that we were having that conversation where we could have like an entire film festival that talks about like the experiences of these people, but like just showing humanity, I guess, like creating that piece there. Like film is one of those things where we can lose ourselves in, but also find connections to other people. That's what's great about the Arts Commission and what we should be promoting.
Right. Okay.
On a completely separate subject, but going back to artists, have we ever considered, now this isn't being sarcastic, but have we ever considered art from the local prison?
I don't think that we have, but I mean, if we can find a contact for whoever
I
they're.
Probably have a contact.
I like
Excellent
that,
question.
Carmel.
Excellent question.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Because
All
So
right.
if we're all kind of in agreement on what we've heard, and we're going to look at our mission statement, I feel as if Jillian and Shannon, you're looking for us to do something else. And is that what we've talked about tonight? We're now aware, and we're going to look at different locations and open our minds to different things and address our mission statement. Is that it? Or are you, I feel as
Yeah,
if you're
no,
asking us to do something else.
I don't think that I'm
I
asking.
think our only
that-
thing was to commit to 3 sustainable actions that we can do, which I
don't
think
should.
we,
Yes, but are we putting this in writing anywhere, or can we just like verbally agree to it? Because I don't,
Well,
we-
I think for
is it
us,
okay if we put it in writing?
like,
I just don't want to be
No.
followed up. You haven't done what you said you were going to do and things like that.
Nobody's following
Okay,
up
so
to
hold
say
on.
you haven't
Yeah.
done what you
The
said you
only-
were gonna
Think
do.
about
It's not like
fundraising.
school.
pause, please, pause, please. The
Think
only
about
people
fundraising. There's a lot of
following-
wealthy conservatives in this town.
Okay, so the only people following up on our beat, like, is us. These actionable items are to hold ourselves accountable. There's no like, government official or, cause is gonna, or, Cultural Alliance of Western Connecticut is not gonna come in and say, you know what, you can't be part of Cultural Alliance for Western Connecticut because you haven't done, your actionable items for 2 years. We're
Yeah,
not
they're
going
not gonna
to
do that mostly because we give them money to be part of Cultural Alliance of Western Connecticut.
But I'm saying, like, no
No, but
one
it
is
did
coming
seem like
in
that.
here.
It did seem like that on the website when I read it, that they were going to
So-
be more, but if you guys are going to be the ones who are,
We've like it's not us, it's us
I know.
that follows up.
Okay,
Like,
so
it's
then
not
they
Jillian and I coming and checking over our shoulder like, Loretta, are you looking at like, this film festival? Like, that's not what's going to
Okay,
be happening
it's an
here.
awareness. It's an
It's
awareness.
an awareness that you're creating for yourself, and it's a self check, like almost like you're taking your temperature check before you go to work. Like, am I showing up to work sick today, or am I showing up to work healthy? Am I showing up to, for diversity in whatever manner that we're looking at? That is that lens, like, am I looking beyond where I normally would look?
Okay.
So I'm sorry, Loretta, I interrupted you. Did you?
No, well, it just, we've talked about this on several meetings, and I think this was, each of them we've learned more. And what more are we going to learn next month? We should just have to continue forward on what we feel is the right thing to do. So I know there's a question about last month. You said that they wanted to put our logo on it, and they jumped the gun. They put it on already. Do we want them to take that down?
Yes.
That's a conversation with the group. Do we want to be labeled? Do we want our label on their website? Because then that looks like we've committed to something.
I think one of the things to look at is go and look at some of the other organizations that are also on there. The Brookfield Theater is on there. Keeler Tavern.
Well, they're all private
bunch
organizations.
of
We're
places
we're
in
part of a
Richfield.
town.
Sorry?
They're all private organizations. We're a town.
There are a whole bunch of town organizations on there.
I just
as
saw
well.
Ridgefield, and I actually went to the Ridgefield's Art Commission website
I
to
think
see their
Bethel's
discussion.
on there. I'm
Okay,
pretty
well, maybe
sure.
they're,
I mean, again, like,
Yeah,
if we
there's
are
a lot of
uncomfortable
organizations
with
on
having them on, if we are uncomfortable, we can ask Lisa to take it down. If we continue these conversations and then we ever come to a point where we feel like, that that's a place for us, then we can always go back to Lisa and say that that's what we want. If we never get to a place where that's what we want for this commission, then, we never get there. But I do think that it is important as decision makers, that, we are aware of the, very minimal power that we hold as a commission, when we're making, decisions about, work that we're including, or places that we're looking for things, or, the sculptors that we're, soliciting for proposals, et cetera, or whatever it is that we're talking about.
I just don't think we need the logo on there to
Okay.
stop us from doing any of it.
I agree, and I think really we've been doing what they're asking. In fact, the sculptor was Armenian. I mean, that's pretty much a minority.
Okay,
Yeah.
I would like to move on. Could you just have them take off our logo, and we will keep this going, and Alex is going to write mission statement blurb for this. We'll discuss next meeting, okay?
Okay.
Any other pressing that we want to talk about on
I was
this?
just going to ask if you're not uncomfortable, and if you are, don't worry about it. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I wanted to hear how Bridget feels about this, being the younger person on the
I was
board.
waiting for that.
Thank you.
That's a good question. I feel like I definitely do think of these issues a lot differently, being a young millennial who's still in school learning about these issues every class period. I think the way we need to maybe in the future going about discussing it is a little more with a plan of action, and I don't know how to describe it. Just feel like it can be a little almost accusatory when we're talking about it. And I think if we can just talk about these issues or read more of how to discuss it, where it's more welcoming and opening. And I mean, these issues are blatantly there, and there's so many, I don't know if you've followed like the cancel art galleries accounts or cancel museums, like Instagram accounts that are coming forward with all of the issues that are really happening, like actual experience of this is what this museum has done, and this is what this gallery has done. And even if we make a list of things that we've actually done in the Brookfield Art Commission, like before, it was way before I've been a part of it, but if there are specific examples of things we have done wrong, even bringing those to light is a great way to start moving forward on what we can do differently once we've acknowledged what we've done wrong. So that's one of the things like I noticed on these Instagrams, but it is a big discussion, and I don't want to keep rambling on, but I don't know. So just some of my thoughts after like listening to all of this and what I kind of keep reading about and discussing with even my friends and peers in the art world, calling to action. So yeah, that's just a little.
Gary, to change the subject, do the prisoners make films? No, I'm not being funny.
No, I don't know. I do know the Drawing Center in New York City just did a big exhibition, or it might still be up, on prisoner artwork that had.
That's what made me think of it.
Really?
But yeah, but do they make films also?
You don't. Not that I've heard of. Only mostly drawings and paintings.
Yeah, I know about the drawings and paintings.
Yeah,
I've been.
I haven't heard of any film.
Yeah.
Bridget, I want to thank you for your observations on our discussion. That was helpful. Thank you. Really.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
Just a little background is my daughter-in-law is a curator, and she worked for the Guggenheim. And the Guggenheim, you can do a little bit of research on what's happened with them in the last probably 6 or 8 months. There was a real uprising at the Guggenheim because they felt that the people in charge were not open enough. In fact, the woman who was in charge never put a Black artist in the rotunda.
Wow.
And there was a huge letter that was written to the board of directors, and she was actually put on leave for a while. But it was the reason why my daughter-in-law left the Guggenheim. She felt that they were not being open and allowing different artists. So it's, you see it in this little town of Brookfield, that it's something that they're discussing, but it's also a big issue in the art world. So that's all.
I think that's more not relevant, but because it would be obvious they're not putting someone, because there would be a lot of Black artists. I don't know that we have. I mean, I'm so open to any artists that come our way, but that's big, that that they didn't do that. So, good, I'm glad that she got booted or whatever, suspended,
Well, yes, yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
right.
it's a good thing. She was not a nice person. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're gonna move on. Gingerbread houses, we're gonna just post pictures. I talked to the Daniel from Parks and Recs, and I kind of said, I don't know that you're gonna have many takers for your kits because people can buy kits online, and he kind of agreed. I think he's gonna just do a small thing. So we're just gonna get the word out. I guess we have to get the word out soon. Jillian, would you be okay writing something like inviting people to share their gingerbread houses, or do you want me to? Okay,
Not a
great.
problem.
And I think that can go up soon, you know?
Yeah. And we don't really have any dates, do we?
No, just whenever, like, oh, don't forget if you're making, you know, we're gonna brag about, you know, post your.
Is Parks and Rec ending up selling any?
The way he ended it, it was like he's going to do a minimal thing, and I did tell him if you do it, I wrote a sentence, you know, why not share it on the Brookfield? I gave our Gmail and his Gmail. So if people buy through them and build it, they'll post to them and us also.
Okay. I might just reach out to him and find out, because he said he was putting kits together. Find out if he's started publicizing that, because like I'm not friends with the Parks and Rec on my Facebook page, so I haven't seen anything go out. But you know,
Yeah, I
I
haven't
would
seen
mention
anything.
it, but I don't know how many they have, you know. And
Yeah.
I'm the last person who wants to make more work for someone else.
Right. Okay, and then I did talk to Ginny, and the Girl Scout thing, tree lighting, has nothing to do with us decorating the town hall tree. So she said, yes, we'd be happy if you could decorate it. I kind of think we should keep it to a minimal people. Like, I'll be happy to go, but I think with pandemic, a few of us, that's it. And maybe some of us, like 2 of us put some decorations on, 2 of us come 2 hours later, so we're not close to each other. We have to pick a date. I don't really care. Let me get my calendar. Like early December. What's a good time? Like 6 o'clock to do it?
Well, if town hall isn't open, how do we get in after working hours?
I have a fob. I can meet you there to let you in. Otherwise, it's Kathy's usually there cleaning.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could text
Okay.
Kathy and set it up with her. Or
Okay.
or we could get there like I could get there, like I'm done with school at 3:15. I could get there before it closes, and then we could do a tag team, you know, somebody else comes at 5 and put some more ornaments on and stuff like that.
Good idea.
All right.
Yes, that works.
Let me just send you guys an email of possible dates, and we'll do it that way, okay?
Great.
Now the other thing is for new business, Jim Fisher is the chair, or I don't know if he's the chair, but he's on the economic development. What is it, Susan?
Economic Development Committee? Yeah.
Committee?
Yeah.
Okay, so he called me because what they want to get going is kind of cheer, happiness going in the town because it's such a hard time. So what he wanted to do is kind of maybe have a contest. This is in infant stages. But once, you know how they decorate town hall, the doors. So he's thinking that businesses could decorate and maybe kids could decorate. And I remember Jillian saying, remember you were talking about kids painting on the store windows at one point?
Yeah, Ridgefield does that.
Yeah, he doesn't mean just town center part. He means like all the way down Federal Corridor. So but I don't think there's enough time for this to happen Christmas time. I mean, I told him that I would bring it up with you guys, see if you have any ideas. Decorating businesses, and anyway, I told him I'd put it on the agenda. So I'm not sure what he's asking for us, maybe to publicize it, maybe to help with gathering art supplies or things like that. But any ideas? Like, are you good with this?
I'm good with it. I think this is just the wrong year to have we can't do it this year.
Yeah, we definitely can't do it Christmas time. And then I don't know the next time you would decorate, like Easter. I don't know. if
Well,
that's
no,
appropriate.
you would decorate for
Valentine's
spring.
Day.
You do spring.
Valentine's Day.
Spring's a good idea.
Valentine's, yeah.
But
Valentine's.
we could try and organize something for spring.
I'll just tell him we're game. Whatever, you know, I mean, it sounds like he's gonna go with it. And
because
if you guys have any
and
other
I
ideas.
would do window painting.
Yeah.
Because I thought of that. I've just been waiting for them to finish.
Right. And I think he said something like they do that
Aha, Dan.
Ridgefield, and then they hose it down. They hose it down. Oh, Dan just said something.
Yeah, I like it.
Share the love, not the virus.
I'm going to say goodnight.
We will write that down. Share the love, not the virus. That's a good one.
I'm going to say goodnight. I have to.
Well, I think we're done.
We're about to clean the floor here, so I have to get out of here.
Okay. All right. See you later.
Bye.
Anything else before we close?
So I did have one thing.
Yeah.
The high school that I teach at, they are doing a Home for the Holidays Holiday Lights driving tour. I didn't know if we could do something
nice.
similar to that, where they asked people to fill out a form with just their address on it. And then they put it on a map, and then people, the map's going to be posted by like December 10th, and they have it drive through they have to be lit from 5 to 9 p.m. every night from the 11th to the 20th, and they vote, nightly. But also part of that, what they're doing is, if you participate or if you drive through, to make a donation to our Putnam County CAP, but like we could have it be like, make a donation to the Brookfield food pantry or something like that.
Oh, I like that idea.
It would be something that we would have to throw together really quickly. I have to remember what app I can use to make a map that people would be able to just download the app and put the, whatever it was that they were going into so that they knew where to drive in Brookfield. But it might be something nice for families to do socially distanced in a car.
Well, that's a great idea, because every year you see on Facebook, people are like, oh, any good houses to drive by? And if we could organize it and make a map, and then, I mean, it could be as simple as, and then your last run, look at the town hall light, and please drop your donation in there, your food donation there. Finish up with the town hall, or along the way do the town hall. That would be great.
Yeah, I like that. And I would say, shamelessly steal as much from the other towns that are doing it.
Yeah.
Of software or ideas or suggestions. That one place on the corner of Old Holyville Road is always just light up.
Yeah.
It's already lit too.
Oh,
so that would be great.
That would be great. But there are lots of others.
Do you need permission? Like I would put that house on the map. Do we have to have? Oh yeah, because you want it lit a certain time.
You want it lit at a certain time, and so they that they would participate in it. So what we would have to do is I would have to either tonight or tomorrow morning during class make a form, send it to Jillian, have her send it out on our Facebook page, and get all of you to promote as much as you can, like on Business and Happenings, on all the coffee house, everywhere that we could.
That's great.
And hopefully that Hollyville, house would want to participate. So yeah, but it would be sorry. No, go ahead.
Well, we could even say on the Facebook page, and if you know of any great houses in your area, please give us our names so we can contact them, or you can contact them and see, send them this form,
Right, those two houses next to each other on Candlewood Lake Road near Huckleberry.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Cool.
Oh, those houses, yeah.
Yeah, and they're relatives to each other. I love that idea. So you're okay going with that? If you need any help with like making your flyer or anything like that, let me know, okay?
Okay.
Okay. All right, we good?
We're good.
All right, thanks you guys.
Thank you.
Oh,
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Yeah. Have a safe Thanksgiving.
Motion to adjourn.
Wait. Do we want a December meeting? We don't usually have it.
No.
So can I have a motion to not have it?
I motion.
I move that we skip the December
second.
meeting.
Okay. So have
Aye.
a great Thanksgiving. I'll get in touch with you about decorating.
Take
Bye.
care.
Stay well, everyone. Stay well.
Thank you,
Yeah, stay
Dan.
well.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
Oh, thanks, Dan. Yeah.
Thanks, Sam.
You're welcome.